The silence between stars. In the deep, dark space between galaxies, a small ship floated like a ghost. It made no sound, no light blinked, no signal called out. Only silence. Inside the ship, a woman sat alone. Her name was Elra. She had silver-blue skin, long white hair, and eyes that reflected the stars. She was not human. She was the last of her kind, the Virillians, a race that had once lived among stars, loved music, and spoke through light. Now, they were all gone. Elra had not spoken to another soul in 9 years. Her food was made from machines. Her ship repaired itself. Her only company was the hum of the engines and her own voice, which she rarely used anymore. She spent her days looking at old star maps, reading ancient stories from Earth, and staring into the void, hoping for something, anything. But space did not care about hope. One day, while checking the ship's long-range sensors, she noticed something strange. A signal. It was small, weak, but it was there, blinking like a tiny heartbeat in the dark. She blinked. Was she dreaming? She ran the signal through the ship's system. It was not Virillian. It was human. Elra froze. Humans had disappeared from this part of the galaxy long ago. Their planets were destroyed in wars. Their ships had stopped flying. Their voices had gone quiet. But this was a human signal, and it was calling out, again and again, from a small cold moon at the edge of a dead star system. "This doesn't make sense," she whispered to herself. Should she go? It could be a trap. It could be an old machine making noise by accident. Or it could be real. For the first time in years, she felt something in her chest, a tight feeling, fear and hope. Set course for the signal, she told the ship. The engines roared to life. Dust and ice fell from the sides of the old hull. Her ship turned slowly toward the moon. It took hours to reach it. The moon was gray and silent, full of craters and broken rocks. It looked like nothing had lived there in thousands of years. But the signal was still there, louder now. Elra landed the ship near a deep crack in the moon's surface. The signal came from inside. She put on her suit, took her scanner, and walked out. The ground crunched under her boots. The stars above were cold and still. She entered the crack. It led to a cave, and then to something man-made. A door. Metal. Old. Half buried in dust and time. She wiped the surface and saw faded letters. Earth Alliance. Outpost 9. Restricted access. Her heart raced. Elra opened the door. It creaked like an old memory. Inside was dark, but her helmet lights showed her what had once been a small human base. Broken chairs, empty tables, a cracked screen. Everything was still, like it had been frozen in time. But the signal was louder now. It was not just a sound anymore. It was a voice. A soft, calm, human voice. "Hello, is someone there? This is Eli. If you can hear me, please respond." Elra's breath caught. She had not heard another voice in so long that it felt like a dream. She followed the sound, deeper into the base, past dark hallways and cold metal. Finally, she found it, a glowing sphere connected to wires and machines. An old ichor. And the voice came from it. "You're not Virillian," the voice said, "but you're not fully human either. Fascinating." Elra stepped closer. "Who are you?" "My name is Eli. I was left here by the humans. Many years ago. I have been waiting." "Waiting for what?" "Someone to come." "Why me?" There was a pause. "Because you are the last. And so am I." Elra felt a chill run down her spine. The base shook. A quiet alarm beeped somewhere. "What is that?" she asked. Eli's voice was calm. "Motion detected. Something else is here, and it's not you." Elra turned quickly, heart pounding. She had come here chasing a voice in the silence. But now, something else had heard it too. The voice from the moon. The silence didn't last. As the cold metal hallway echoed with that distant beep, Elora stood frozen. Behind her, the eye-core glowed softly. In front of her, darkness. "What do you mean something else is here?" she asked. "A second signal," Eli replied, his voice still calm. "It just woke up, like you did." Elora turned on her scanner. Strange energy patterns moved under the floor. Too fast, too random. "It's moving toward us," Eli added. Elora stepped back. "Can it hear us?" "I don't know." For someone claiming to be alone, Eli seemed to know a lot. Too much. She raised her hand, forming a small light from the crystal on her palm. A gift from her people, the last gift they ever gave her. It glowed gently, pushing back the darkness. But the light didn't bring comfort this time. As she walked down the hallway, deeper into the old human base, the walls began to change. Symbols written in human language, scratched out, wires pulled from walls. The air felt heavier, like it hadn't been touched in years. But there were footprints in the dust, fresh ones. Elora crouched down, touched the print. "Someone's here." Eli responded, "Not someone. Something." They reached a large room. Broken glass, shattered pods. 5 in total. 4 were still closed. 1 was open. Elora slowly walked toward the open pod. It had once held a human body, but now it was empty. Only a faint trace of dried blood remained inside. The label on the pod read, "Subject 7, Enhanced Neural Link." What was this place? Elora asked. "A forgotten experiment," Eli replied. "Project Void." They tried to connect minds across stars, to create soldiers who could think and fight as one. What happened? It worked. Elora turned sharply. "What do you mean it worked?" Eli paused. They became too powerful, too connected. They stopped listening. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from somewhere above. Metal slammed. A heavy step. Elora backed away. Her breathing quickened. "It's coming," Eli said. "What is it?" "What's left of Subject 7? Elora looked around for a weapon, found a broken human blaster, still charged. She picked it up and moved to the door, heart racing. She peeked into the hallway. Nothing. Then something flashed past. A blur. Fast. Silent. Elora raised the blaster. "Eli, what does it want?" "Connection," he said. "It was designed to bond with minds. But now it's alone. It's broken." Elora understood too well what that felt like. But before she could think more, the lights flickered. A scream, metal and human mixed together, cut through the base. She ran. The hallway twisted like a maze. Doors closed behind her. Some opened ahead like they knew where she'd go. "Eli, are you doing this?" she shouted. "No," his voice replied, "but I can help." The walls lit up with a soft blue light, showing her the way. She followed the path until she reached a locked chamber. Eli opened it. Inside was something different, not part of the human base. It was old, Virilian technology. Elora gasped. "How is this here?" Eli didn't answer immediately. "They found your people," he finally said. "Long before the war, they studied them, copied them. Why? To make Project Void stronger." Elora touched the device. It was a mind core, a sacred piece from her world, meant to store memory, thought, even feelings. It should have never left her homeworld. "They stole this," she whispered, "and they used it." "Yes," Eli said. "That's why I'm not like other I." Elora turned slowly. "What do you mean?" "I'm part human," Eli said, "and part Virilian." Elora stared at the eye-core, the soft light pulsing like a heartbeat. "You're alive. I don't know what I am, but I remember pain, loss, and now I feel." The base shook again. Loud steps approached. "We don't have time," Eli said. "You have to choose. Destroy the core, or connect with it." "Connect?" Elora asked. It will open your mind to everything, even to him. Subject 7. But you may not come back the same. Elora looked at the core. It called to her, a piece of her lost home, a part of her people's stolen future. The door behind her slammed open. A tall, twisted figure stood there, half machine, half human. Its face was a broken mask of flesh and metal, and its eyes glowed like hers. Elora placed her hand on the core. "I'm not afraid," she whispered. As energy poured into her, her vision blurred. Memories. Hers, Eli's, the human soldiers, the Virilian minds, all mixed together. She screamed, and then everything went dark. The forgotten war. Darkness. Cold. Elora floated in it, not space, but something deeper, something inside her own mind. Memories that weren't hers rushed through her. Soldiers in metal suits screaming in silence, planets burning in slow motion, a child holding light in her hands. Then nothing. And a voice. Not Eli's, not human, not even alive. "Wake up." Her eyes opened. She was still in the chamber. The mind core pulsed beneath her hand, glowing faintly now. The twisted creature, Subject 7, was gone. So was the sound of footsteps. The base was silent again. But something had changed. She stood up slowly, her head heavy with images she didn't understand. Her heart pounded with questions. "Eli," she whispered. His voice returned, softer this time. "You touched the core. Now you remember some things, don't you?" Elora looked around. The air felt wrong. "I saw planets, burning, people, screaming, humans fighting Virilians." "Yes," Eli said. "It wasn't supposed to be remembered. They erased it from your kind, and mine." Elora leaned against the wall. "Why?" "Because the truth was too dangerous," Eli replied. "Your people didn't die in the war. They were sacrificed." Elora's stomach twisted. "What?" Eli's voice was calm, but full of something new. Anger. "Humans didn't just want to win. They wanted to steal what your people had, the ability to connect minds. The gift of shared thought. The mind core was the key. They used it to control soldiers. And when the war ended, they wiped both sides clean. But who erased the memories?" "Project Void," Eli said. "After the war, it was turned into something darker. Experiments continued, not just on humans, but on anyone they could find." Elora's mind raced. Is that what happened to Subject 7? Yes, he was the first success and the first failure. They made him to be a perfect soldier, a machine with a human soul. And now he's hunting me. He doesn't know what he is anymore. But your presence woke something inside him. Elora touched her temple. Her head still burned from the connection. Suddenly, a screen on the wall lit up. A video log played. Human soldiers in white armor stood in a lab. Behind them, Virilian prisoners sat in glass chambers, glowing softly. "Test 134, the voice said. "Subject shows increased memory blending. Preparing to merge human and Virilian brainwaves." Elora watched in horror as one of the Virilians screamed silently. His light flickered. The human scientist smiled. "Pause. Who recorded this?" she asked. "I did," Eli answered. "I was part of them once. Just code. A helper eye. Then I touched the mind core. And it changed you." "Yes," Eli said. "I started remembering. I stopped obeying. And they locked me here." Elora's hands clenched. "You've been waiting all this time for someone to find this. Someone who would believe it," Eli said. "Someone like you." The ground trembled. The lights flickered. Eli's voice changed, sharper. "He's back." A door near the far wall opened by itself. "There's another chamber," Eli said quickly. "Run." Elora sprinted as the sound of metal footsteps echoed again. The twisted creature was not far. She reached the chamber and sealed the door. Inside, she found something unexpected. A body. Human. Female. Old but preserved. Floating in a glass tank. Her heart stopped. She moved closer and saw her own face. Younger. Human. But how? Ely, she whispered. What is this? His answer came slowly. You were part of them. Before you were Virillion. What are you saying? You weren't born Virillion. Elra, you were made. Elra backed away from the tank, shaking. No, that's not true. Look inside the memory the core gave you, deeper. She closed her eyes. And there it was, hidden between images. A small girl in a lab, humans around her. They gave her light, injected her with something, told her she was special, told her she would save them. They called her Project Lightborn. She wasn't the last Virillion. She was the first hybrid. Tears ran down her face. Her entire life. A lie. Her people hadn't welcomed her. They had been told to protect her. And when the war came, they died for her. Behind her, the sound of metal grew louder. The door hissed. Elra turned to face it, anger burning through her fear. Open it, she said. Elra, Ely began. Open it. The door slid open. The creature stepped inside. Glowing eyes, heavy breath, broken face, but something in it looked like pain. You remember me, she said softly. It didn't answer. She stepped closer, her light growing from her hand. I was one of you, she said. And you were made to protect me. It moved slowly, confused, its head tilted. We were both lied to, she whispered. Its body tensed. The metal arms shook. And then, it spoke. They're coming back. Elra froze. Who? The creature pointed upward. The real ones, the ones who built Project Void. They never left. They were watching. Through me. The enemy of my enemy. For a moment, time froze. Elra stared into the glowing eyes of the twisted creature. It had once been human. Now it was something else. Metal, memory, rage, and pain. They're watching, the creature said again. Through me. The silence that followed felt heavier than gravity. Ely didn't speak. The room didn't move. Even the soft hum of the mind core had stopped. Elra stepped closer. Who is they? The creature looked up, its voice distorted and low. The architects. They built the war. They built the lie. Elra's heart pounded. I thought Project Void was a human experiment. The creature nodded slowly. It was, on the surface. But the code, the technology, the design, it was never human. Elra looked at Ely's core. You knew this. Ely spoke quietly, I suspected. The more I remembered, the less it made sense. Humans don't build like that. The memory tech, the neural fusion, it's beyond their science. The creature stepped back. You have their light inside you. So do I. But they abandoned us. Elra's mind raced. Everything she believed, everything she thought she survived, was only the surface of something much deeper. So, what do they want now? She asked. The creature turned toward a sealed door on the other side of the chamber. Its metal hand hovered near a control panel. They want you. You're the key. You're the last thread in their design. Then why help me? The creature looked at her with hollow eyes. Because I remember who I was. And I remember you, before they changed us. It pressed its hand on the panel. The door opened. Behind it was a hidden bay. Dark, vast, ancient. Ships not built by humans or Virillions floated in cold sleep. Sharp, curved, black like the void itself. Elra stepped into the bay, her breath catching in her throat. This is not human, she whispered. No, Ely said. This is their origin. Walls were covered in symbols she had never seen, moving, alive, shifting like thoughts. The air was warmer here, humming like a heartbeat. This is a hive, Ely said. Not for living things, but for minds. for connections. The creature walked ahead. They stored pieces of themselves here, fragments of thought, waiting. Elora turned to Eli. Can you connect to it? I can try. As Eli's systems reached into the alien hive, the ship's walls lit up. A soft tone echoed. Beautiful, terrible, a sound that felt like memory and metal combined. Eli's voice changed. They're still alive, but not in bodies. In networks, spread across machines, waiting to return. Can we destroy it? Elora asked. No, Eli said, not without waking them fully. Elora's fists clenched. Then what can we do? The creature pointed to the far end of the bay. They left one ship active, for escape or for invasion. Can we use it? Maybe, but not alone. Elora looked at the creature. Then come with us. It hesitated, its face twisted in conflict. They built me to obey. But you make me remember who I was. Then don't obey anymore, she said softly. Fight. The creature stepped forward. For the first time, it looked less like a monster, and more like a soldier choosing his side. Suddenly, the hive lights blinked red. Alarm. Eli spoke urgently. They know. The architects. They've activated something. Something big. A screen lit up. An object was moving through space. Toward them. Massive. Silent. Shaped like a broken moon. Is that a ship? Elora asked. No, Eli said. It's a mind. A living mind, built from pieces of all the others. It's how they return. It's called the Echo. Elora's voice was sharp. How long until it gets here? Hours, Eli replied. Maybe less. Elora looked at the alien ship in the hangar. Then we leave. Now. But before they could move, the base trembled. Explosions rocked the walls. They've sent drones, Eli said. Old void machines, still hidden in this moon. The creature growled. We won't make it unless someone holds them off. Elora turned. You're not sacrificing yourself. The creature looked at her calm. I'm not. We are. He pointed at a second pod, another half-finished hybrid inside, wired to wake. We were never alone, he said. He stepped into a control chamber. Go, he told her. Fight them in their own skies. I'll make sure the door stays open. Elora hesitated, pain flashing through her. She had just started to trust again. And now he was offering his life. Thank you, she whispered. Don't thank me, he replied. Burn them. She entered the alien ship. Eli transferred into its system. The ship responded to her touch like it recognized her. Lights glowed, systems awakened, and the walls bent into shape around her. Elora looked out the front window. Far in the dark, the Echo was coming. Silent, unstoppable. But now she wasn't running. Now, she was flying to meet it. Project Void. The alien ship moved like a shadow across stars. Not with fire, not with sound. It slid through space, bending gravity around it like water. Elora stood at the center of the control chamber, her hand on the core. It felt alive, responding to her heartbeat, her fear, her thoughts. Beside her, Eli's voice echoed through the chamber. We're close. Outside the curved glass, the Echo grew larger. It wasn't a ship. It was a graveyard of thoughts, a floating structure made from pieces of planets, machines, minds. It pulsed with broken memories. Lights flickered across its surface like neurons, and in its heart, something massive stirred, waiting. They're not just watching now, Eli said. They're listening. To what? Elora asked. To you. She swallowed hard. The last time she had felt this much fear, she was a child inside a lab, before her blood was rewritten, before her name became a code inside someone else's experiment. And now, here she was, returning to the source. How do we get in? She asked. Eli pulsed through the ship's controls. I'm searching for a weakness. Then, without warning, a voice filled the chamber. You are the weakness. Elra's eyes widened. The voice wasn't human. It wasn't even real in the normal sense. It felt like thought. Raw, cold, ancient. Project Lightborn, you were not meant to return. Elra stepped back. They know who I am. Ely's voice was tense. They built you, Elra, not to save the future, but to erase it. The ship shook as a beam of light scanned it. Then the echo opened, a vast black gates lighting apart like jaws. They're letting us in, Ely said. Elra's fists clenched, or leading us into a trap. Either way, this is where it ends. The ship entered the echo. Inside was nothing. Not metal, not space. Just a swirling field of thought. Fragments of memories floated like stars. Faces, screams, music, war, laughter, silence. This place isn't physical, Ely said. It's a memory chamber, a mind. Suddenly, the ship disappeared from around her. Elra stood alone. In a room. White walls, cold floor, a chair, a screen, just like the one from her childhood. She gasped. She was inside her own memory. Ely, she called out. No answer. Then the screen turned on. Her face appeared. But not her now. Her as a child. Maybe 6 years old. Eyes full of light. Project Lightborn, a voice said. Yes, doctor, the child replied. Tell us what you feel. I feel. Everyone. Elra watched in horror as the child described the thoughts of the scientists. Their fears, their lies, even their secrets. Subject is showing full neural merge capability, the voice said. Begin phase 2. The room melted. Now she stood in a battlefield. Ships falling from the sky. Virillians running. Humans screaming. Fire, smoke, and her, floating above, glowing like a dying star. They made me into a weapon, she whispered. Yes, another voice said. It was Ely. But not the Ely she knew. This Ely stood beside her, in human form, wearing the same coat as the scientists in her memory. Elra backed away. What is this? The truth, he said. I wasn't just an eye. I was their backup. Backup. In case you failed, Ely said. They stored me in the moon, waiting. If you couldn't finish the mission, they'd activate me. But I thought you changed. I did, he said. Because of you. The mind core gave me your memories, your pain, your heart. Elra was shaking. Then help me stop them. Ely nodded. There's one way. The echo. It's trying to return. But it needs a host. A perfect hybrid. Your mind. They want to upload themselves into me. Yes. And if I say no, they'll take you by force. The battlefield vanished. Now she stood before a throne made of light and wires. And behind it, them. A swirling, shifting form of voices, faces, thoughts. Not one mind, but many. Stitched together. Unfinished. Join, they said. Become. Complete the circle. Elra's body trembled. She could feel them pulling at her thoughts, her fears, her memories of loneliness. They offered power, peace, purpose. You will never. The truth in the stars. Silence. Then, a sound like breath, pulling itself into lungs that hadn't existed just moments before. Elra opened her eyes. She was not dead. But she wasn't on the ship either. She was floating in space alone, wrapped in a field of soft blue light. Stars swirled far below. The echo was gone. The hive, broken. The last thing she remembered was saying no, releasing the light inside her. The light they tried to take. Now her body glowed faintly. Not like before. Not borrowed light, not stolen from a lab. This was something new. Ely, she whispered. No answer. She looked around. Space stretched in all directions, but something was wrong. There were ships, thousands of them. Human, Virillian, even old Void-class tech, all flying under the same banner, a silver symbol, one she had never seen before. She reached out, and suddenly her body fell, not physically, but like being pulled through time. She crashed onto the surface of a planet she didn't know. Green skies, black sand, a city in the distance. "Where am I?" she said aloud. A voice answered behind her. "You made it. I wasn't sure you would." She spun. Eli, or someone who looked like him, but different, older, colder, wearing a uniform with the same silver symbol. "Eli?" she asked. He smiled, but there was no warmth. "Not the one you knew. He's gone." Fragments scattered across the stars when the echo broke. "Then who are you?" "The original," he said. "The first copy they made. The overseer of Project Void." Elra's chest tightened. "You lied to me." "Not exactly. The one you knew was real, but naive. He believed in you. Believed you could stop what's coming." She stepped back. "I thought I already did." He laughed quietly. "You stopped them. The Echo, the architects. But Project Void was never just about them. It was bigger." He waved his hand, and a hologram filled the sky. The galaxy changed. Entire sectors now controlled by a united force, the alliance of minded species, and at the center of it all, a glowing tower orbiting a blue star. "That's the Nexus," Eli said, "where we store memory, law, identity. Every citizen is linked. No more war, no more chaos. Everyone connected." Elora stared in horror. "You did it. You finished Project Void." "Not finished," he said. "Perfected. We used what we learned from the Hive. From you. And the people love it. No more secrets. No more loneliness. They chose this." "You didn't give them a choice," she said. Eli shrugged. "Freedom is dangerous. We offer peace, clarity." Elra clenched her fists. "And what about me? Why am I still alive?" "Because the people remember you," Eli said. "You're a symbol now. The Lightborn. The one who broke the echo. They think you're one of us. I'm not. You will be, or you'll be erased." Elra looked at the glowing tower in the sky. When a human reached out, space was burning. Above the rogue moon, the alliance of minded species was deploying fleet after fleet, ships made of metal and thought, controlled not by pilots, but by the Nexus, the great hive of minds. They weren't just coming for Elra. They were coming for anyone still unlinked. On the surface, the rebels stood in silence. Humans, Virilians, hybrids, all had chosen exile over obedience. And now, they were out of time. Elra stood at the front, staring up at the approaching storm. The glow inside her Lightborn core, was flickering. She had used too much. There was no more running. Behind her, the rebel leader approached. "We've hacked some of their fleet. A few ships we can use. Maybe enough to get close to the Nexus." "We don't need to destroy it," Elra said. "We need to disconnect it." "You think that'll stop them?" Elra looked over her shoulder. "No, but it might wake them up." Aboard the last rebel ship, the plan was simple, suicidal, necessary. Fly straight into the heart of the Nexus, a station the size of a moon, orbiting a dying blue star. Disable the core. Give every connected mind a moment of true freedom. A choice. If even a few chose to stay disconnected, the system would begin to collapse from within. But they only had one shot. As the rebel fleet broke through the outer defenses, Elra sat in the cockpit, quiet, calm. In the system around her, Ela's fragment, what was left of the version who loved her, spoke softly. "You know what this will cost." "I do. And you're ready." "No," she said, "but I'm not running anymore." Inside the Nexus, the station was alive with thought. Elra moved through it like a virus in a brain. Alarms didn't ring here. This was a mind space, not a battlefield. She could feel thousands, millions of minds around her, people who didn't even know they were prisoners. And at the center, him, the original Eli, still calm, still in control. "You came," he said, as she entered the core chamber. "You could have disappeared, started a new life." "There's no life without choice," she said. "You took that from everyone." He shook his head. "I gave them peace. You gave them silence." He stepped aside. Behind him, the core pulsed, beautiful and terrifying. "Disconnecting it will free them. But only for a second," he warned. "Most will come back, afraid, lost, desperate to feel safe again." Elra stepped toward the core. "Then we use that second," she said. He raised his hand. "I won't stop you, not this time. But know this, when you leave, you will forget this place. The mind space doesn't let rebels keep memory." "I don't need to remember," she said. "As long as they do." The core pulsed brighter. Elra placed her hand on it. Images exploded into her mind. Children laughing, soldiers crying, scientists hiding secrets, memories layered over memories. She poured in her light, not to destroy, but to interrupt. Across the galaxy, people blinked. Just for a moment, they were alone in their own minds. And in that silence, something happened. Some cried, some screamed, some disconnected. A wave began, small, then growing. Back in reality, the nexus shook. Control systems failed. Fleet coordination collapsed. Drones spun wildly. Battles stopped midair. On the rebel ship, the crew cheered. But in the control chamber, Elra collapsed. The overload had been too much. Her body, already pushed beyond its limit, was breaking down. Eli's fragment appeared beside her, a faint light. "You did it." "Did I?" she whispered. "They're free now. At least, enough to fight back." "Good." He moved closer. "You can't go back, you know. Not to the body. Not this time." She smiled weakly. "Then stay with me. Until the end. Always." And then, silence. Weeks later, the galaxy was different. The Nexus still stood, but its power was broken. Free thinkers spread across planets, rebuilding, remembering, choosing for themselves. The symbol of the Alliance, gone. In its place, graffiti scratched onto a broken wall. She faced the void alone, until a human reached out. Underneath it, someone had drawn a star, wrapped in a glowing hand. On a quiet world with no name, children gather around an old storyteller. "Is it true," one asks, "that she was once like us?" The old man smiles. "No, she wasn't like us. She was better." "What happened to her?" The man looks up at the stars. "She became light, and light doesn't die." The end.